After learning this module, you shall be able to A. to understand the composition of major pollutants in the air, B. to study broadly the impact of air pollution, C. to understand the causes of air pollution in India, D. to study the corrective action taken up in India to curb air pollution, E. to propose policy suggestions in this regard. Let us start with a brief introduction on air pollution. Air pollution is the presence of harmful substances in the atmosphere emitted by various sources like industries and motor vehicles, etc., that causes damage to life and property. The substances may be visible or invisible particles or gases that are not part of the natural composition of air. Air contains natural gases, water droplets, particles and chemicals added by humans. These substances react with each other to form different compounds that may pollute air. Tiny water droplets and fine particles of smoke, dust and salts contribute to haze, fog and smog. Although there have been changes in cycling patterns over geological time, changes are usually slow and natural ecosystems keep the system in balance. The air pollution problem becomes serious only when human activities introduce large quantities of additional compounds into the atmosphere, which disrupts the normal biochemical cycle. There are three broad sources of air pollution from human activities: stationary or point, mobile and indoor. In developing countries, especially in the rural areas, indoor air pollution from using open fires for cooking and heating may be a serious problem. Industries, power plants, etc. are the cause of stationary air pollution. But in urban areas, both developing and developed countries, it is predominantly mobile or vehicle pollution that contributes to air quality problem. Next, we will discuss the impacts of air pollution. There are various impacts of air pollution like health impact in humans, environmental impacts on plants and animals, diversity, endangered species, death, impaired visibility like haze, impact on property and many more. Ambient air contains most of the pollutants that affect humans and their environment. Impaired visibility. Visibility impairment occurs as a result of the scattering and absorption of light by particles and gases in the atmosphere. In common terms, it is described as haze, which obscures the clarity, color, texture and form of what we see. Few particles such as sulfates scatter more light, particularly during human conditions. Most of this haze is not natural, as it is air pollution carried over many hundreds of miles by the wind from their point of origin. Particulate matter as an air pollutant. Health problems. Besides reducing the ability to enjoy clear vision, some of the pollutants which form haze have also been linked to serious health problems and environmental damage like increased respiratory illness, decreased lung function, and premature death. Particles such as nitrates and sulfates contribute to acid rain formation, which makes lakes, rivers, and streams unsuitable for many fish and erodes buildings, historical monuments, and paints on cars. Climatic problems. Acid rain. The process of acid deposition begins with the emission of sulfur dioxide, that is SO2, and oxides of nitrogen, that is NOx. These pollutants interact with sunlight and water vapor in the upper atmosphere to form acidic compounds, that is sulfuric acid, nitric acid, sulfates, and nitrates. These compounds fall to earth in form of wet acid deposition as acid rain or snow. During dry periods, the gases might combine with dust or other airborne particles and fall as dry acid precipitation. Acid rain may fall out hundreds of miles away from the area where SO2 or NOx were emitted into the air. Acid rain may adversely affect crops, vegetation, animals, buildings, monuments, drinking water, etc. The extent of damage caused by acid deposition depends on the total acidity deposited in a particular area and the acid sensitivity of the area. An area with acid neutralizing compounds in soil could possibly withstand years of acid deposition without problems. However, in areas where soil is extremely thin or has little acid buffering capacity, those areas become highly acidic and are unable to support animal or plant life. Human health is also affected by acid rain as it increases toxicity of drinking water. Lung disease caused by breathing acid-laden air is another threat posed by acid rain. Ozone. Ozone is a major component in smog. Ozone is an odorless, colorless gas composed of 3 atoms of oxygen. Ozone occurs both in the Earth's upper atmosphere and at ground level. Ozone can be good or bad depending on where it is found. In the Earth's lower atmosphere near ground level, ozone is formed when oxides of nitrogen, that is NOx, and other pollutants emitted by cars, power plants, industrial boilers, refineries, chemical plants, and other sources react chemically in the presence of sunlight. Ground level ozone concentrations may be detrimental to human health. When the levels of ozone are very high, continued exposure to it may irritate the respiratory system. Ozone can also reduce lung function. Reduced lung function can be a particular problem for those who remain outdoors for most time in a day. Ozone can aggravate asthmatic conditions in patients. High levels of ozone adversely affect human body's immune system, thereby causing long-term health effects and lower quality of life. Ozone can deteriorate environment, damage vegetation, and cause smog. Global warming. Buildup of greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, resulting from human activities that interfere with the composition of atmosphere, may have been primarily responsible for global warming. These gases trap heat and create the greenhouse effect. Energy from the sun drives the earth's weather and climate, heats the earth's surface, and in turn the earth radiates energy back into the space. Atmospheric greenhouse gases, that is water vapor, carbon dioxide, and other gases, trap some of the outgoing energy, retaining heat somewhat like the glass panels of a greenhouse. Without this natural greenhouse effect, temperatures would be much lower to sustain life on Earth. However, problems may arise when the atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases increase as it enhances the heat trapping capability of the Earth's atmosphere. These gases tend to make the atmosphere opaque to outgoing infrared radiation. This tips the balance towards a warmer Earth. Scientists generally believe that the combustion of fossil fuels and other human activities are the primary reason for the increased concentration of carbon dioxide. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climatic Change, that is IPCC 2000, estimated that the global average temperature has already risen by 3/4 degree Celsius over the period and will most likely rise by an additional 1 degree to 3 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. Rising temperature can lead to various changes like sea level rise, increased insect-borne diseases, changes in agriculture productivity, more frequent heat waves, etc. Increased evaporation due to warming up of climate may increase average global precipitation. We shall now throw some light on state and trends of air pollution in India. India's ongoing population expansion, along with rapid urbanization and industrialization, has placed significant pressure on its infrastructure and natural resources. While industrial development has contributed significantly to economic growth in India, it has done so at a considerable cost to the environment. The air quality has been therefore an issue of social concern in the backdrop of various development activities in India. As per one of the studies, air pollution related diseases are responsible for around 3,000 premature deaths every year in Delhi, majorly caused by the air pollution due to vehicle emission. Urban air pollution from road transport is a growing concern for many cities across the world. Many governments face difficulty catering to environmental concerns along with meeting the goals of economic growth. Poor air quality in turn is held responsible for adverse effects on public health. The more severe human and economic impacts of air pollution are, the increased incidence of illness and premature death that result from human exposure to elevated levels of harmful pollutants. In modern scenario, it seems hard to imagine a world where one does not have to deal with the ill effects of pollution. High population growth rate, rapid urbanization, deforestation due to population and livestock pressure, requirements of forest products for essential development, etc., and increase in number of motor vehicles on road, especially diesel vehicles, are the main factors in general that have resulted in significant increase in levels of pollution. We shall briefly discuss the factors affecting air quality in India. A. Population growth. India has witnessed explosive population growth along with unplanned urbanization over the last 5 decades. Total population of India is expected to exceed 1.6 billion in 2050 from 1.2 billion presently. Oldenburg 2005. The cause has been the large-scale migration of rural population in search of livelihoods. Consequently, the IG basin is one of the most densely populated regions in the world. B. Vehicular emission load. Following the trends in population growth and urbanization, purchase of vehicles for personal use has contributed heavily to emissions containing pollutants such as sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxides, lead, ozone, benzene and hydrocarbons. The number of registered vehicles in Delhi has increased 51 times over a period of 30 years. 17% of the cars in India are run in Delhi alone, as given by India State and Trends of Environment 2009. C. Growth in industrial sector. Impressive growth in manufacturing reflects growth trends in electronics and IT, pharmaceuticals, basic chemicals, etc. These belong to the red category of major polluting process as designated by Central Pollution Control Board called CPCB and have significant environmental consequences in terms of air emissions. Airborne emissions from various industries are of two types. One, solid particles like suspended particulate matter called SPM. Two, gaseous emissions like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, etc. D. Growth in power sector. The power sector is a major consumer of coal, using about 78% of the country's coal production. Coal is a major source catering to the growing energy needs. It meets 51% of the commercial needs and 70% of the electricity demands. Consequently, the country has a high carbon intensity level. In 2006-07, India encountered 495.54 million tons a year of total absolute emissions of carbon dioxide from the power sector. E. Agricultural waste burning. Agriculture burning in the open is the open burning of waste materials produced from growing and harvesting crops. It helps farmers remove crop residues left in the field after harvesting grains such as wheat, rice or corn. But the smoke generated from burning causes air pollution as it contains various particulate matter and ozone forming compounds which can cause severe respiratory diseases. F. Indoor air pollution. Household sector is the second largest consumer of energy in India. According to National Family Health Survey, 71% of India's households use solid fuels for cooking. It causes air pollution since burning of traditional fuels make large quantity of CO2 in the atmosphere when combustion is complete. But when combustion is incomplete followed by oxidation, then carbon monoxide, that is CO, is produced in addition to hydrocarbons. In the past few years, scientific research has indicated that the air inside houses contain more pollutants than the air found in highly industrialized cities. Other studies have also stated that people spend 90% of their time indoors. For many individuals, this increases health risks. There are a variety of things that can pollute indoor air, including dust, pollen, pet dander, mold, bacteria, viruses, and even harmful chemicals from cleaning supplies. The most common cause of poor indoor air quality are poor ventilations, as improper ventilation hinders air circulation. This makes it hard for clean, fresh air to circulate in your home. Humidity is caused by poor ventilation. Humidity in the home is a breeding ground for mildew, mold, and other bacteria. These contaminants are usually circulated throughout your home. Now we discuss the air quality trends in India. CPCB has identified a list of polluted cities in which the prescribed National Ambient Air Quality Standards, that is NAAQS, are violated. Action plans are being formulated and 88 of them are being implemented to control air pollution in non-attainment cities by respective states. Ambient Air Quality Standards. The National Ambient Air Quality Standards, that is NAAQS, are standards established to provide a legal framework for control of air pollution and protection of public health. Primary standards are designed to protect human health with an adequate margin of safety, including sensitive populations such as children, the elderly, and individuals suffering from respiratory diseases. Secondary standards are designed to protect public welfare from any known or anticipated adverse effects of a pollutant. Central Pollution Control Board is executing a nationwide program of ambient air quality monitoring known as National Air Quality Monitoring Program, that is NAMP. The network consists of 342 monitoring stations covering 127 cities and towns in 26 states and 4 union territories. The countrywide ambient air quality monitoring carried out by CPCB revealed that National Air Quality Standards, that is NAAQS, for respirable suspended particulate matter, that is RSPM, the main air pollutant of public health concern, were violated at most of the monitoring stations. According to the air quality data and trends published by CPCB in 2008, trends observed for 3 main air pollutants are discussed. Sulfur dioxide, that is SO2. Annual average concentration of SO2 levels are within the prescribed National Ambient Air Quality Standards, that is NAAQS, at almost all the locations as per the reports of the Central and State Pollution Control Board. A decreasing trend has been observed in SO2 level in major cities like Delhi and Mumbai during the last few years. This trend may be due to various measures taken such as reduction of sulfur in diesel, etc., and use of LPG instead of coal as a domestic fuel. The highest concentration amongst all residential areas was observed at the monitoring station located in Nasik Municipal Corporation building. Nasik, and highest concentration from industrial area was observed at the monitoring station located at CGCRI Khurja, Uttar Pradesh during 2007, although SO2 levels at none of the monitoring stations exceeded the NaAQS level. Nitrogen dioxide, that is NO2. During the last few years, a decreasing trend has been observed in nitrogen dioxide levels due to various measures taken for vehicle pollution control such as stricter vehicular emission norms. Vehicles are one of the major sources of NO2 in India. However, Delhi observed an increasing trend in the past few years. During 2007, the NO2 levels at 81% of the monitoring stations in industrial areas and 70% of the residential areas were found to be lower than the NaAQS, suggesting a downward trend in NO2 emissions in India. Out of all the metropolitan cities, Chennai has the lowest level of NO2 emissions. Kolkata had NO2 emissions level above the NaAQS level till 2003. But after 2003, the level of emission declined and came below NaAQ's level. Particulate matter. Annual average concentration of respirable suspended particulate matter, that is RSPM, and suspended particulate matter, that is SPM, exceeded the NaAQS level in most of the cities. A decreasing trend in RSPM has been observed in cities like Solapur and Lucknow during the last few years. High level of this pollutant could be a result of engine gensets, small scale industries, emissions from power plants, etc. Lower levels of RSPM and SPM are also found to be governed by factors like stringent standard for particulate matter in diesel vehicles or presence of excellent ventilation effects owing to sea and land breeze in coastal cities. Let us now focus on the response program of the government. Vehicular pollution control measures. In order to control vehicular pollution, a roadmap has been adopted as per the schedule proposed in the Auto Fuel Policy 2002, which includes use of cleaner fuels, automobile technology, and use of enforcement measures for in-use vehicles through improved pollution under control, that is PUC certification system. Fuel quality specification. Diesel and gasoline fuel quality notified under the US Environmental Protection Agency, that is EPA, in compliance with standard parameters. 2. Traffic management, that is restriction of goods vehicles during daytime. 2. Construction of more flyovers and subways. 3. Installation of time clocks at traffic signals to enable the drivers to switch off their vehicles depending on time left in the clocks. 4. Left lane exclusively for buses and heavy motor vehicles. Reduction of emissions by using lubricants. 1. Specification of 2T oil for two-stroke engine with respect to smoke emissions notified under the EPA. 2. Installation of pre-mixed 2T oil dispenser at all petroleum stations in Delhi for curbing excessive use of oil. 3. Technology. This includes compulsory fitting of catalytic converters for new petrol passenger cars. 2. Introduction of two-wheelers with 4-stroke engine. 3. Registration of only rear engine auto rickshaws. Next, public transport system. More buses in major cities to encourage public transportation. 2. Introduction of metro rail in Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Bangalore and Hyderabad. 3. Proposal for BRTs approved for major cities to ease congestion. Alternate fuels. This include 1. Introduction of CNG in major cities and conversion of all city buses to CNG mode. 2. Emission norms for CNG and LPG driven vehicles have been notified. 3. Petrol vehicles now use ethanol blended petrol all over India. 4. Announcement of National Mission and Biodiesel by Planning Commission of Government of India. Next, control of pollution from in-use vehicles. 1. Idling emission norms have been notified for in-use vehicles. 2. PUC certificates issued for adherence to idling emission norms, that is between 3 to 12 months. 3. Number of computerized PUC centers in Delhi is in excess of 350. Next, mass awareness program. 1. Circulation of messages, articles relating to vehicular emissions through print and electronic media. 2. Display of ambient air quality data through display system in major cities. 3. Encouraging NGOs working on vehicular pollution control, air, Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. The Government of India enacted this act to arrest the deterioration in the air quality. The act prescribes various functions for the Central Pollution Control Board called CPCB at the apex level and the State Pollution Control Board at the state level. The main functions of CPCB are as follows. Advise central government on any matter concerning air quality. Publish technical and statistical data related to air pollution. Sponsor investigations and research related to prevention, control and abatement of air pollution. Plan nationwide program for prevention and control of air pollution. Lay down standards for air quality and provide technical guidance to state pollution control boards. State pollution control boards perform the following functions. Apart from planning comprehensive programs for prevention, control and abatement of air pollution, they collaborate with CPCB for such programs. They collect and disseminate information related to air pollution. Advising state government on any matter concerning air pollution is also one of the important functions of SPCBs. Industrial pollution control. Measures taken in order to curb air pollution from industrial sources are as follows. Industries directed to install necessary pollution control equipments. 2. Compulsory environmental clearance for 29 categories of developmental projects. 3. Identification and restoration of air quality in critically affected areas. 4. Environmental guidelines have been evolved for sitting of industry. 5. Power plants in sensitive areas to use low ash content coal. 6. Environmental audit mandatory for all polluting industries. National Air Quality Monitoring Program. CPCB is executing a nationwide national air quality monitoring program. The network consists of 342 operating stations covering 127 cities and towns in 26 cities and 4 union territories of the country. Some of the objectives of NAMP are to determine the status and trends of ambient air quality, to ascertain whether the prescribed ambient air quality standards are violated, and to assess health hazards and damage to materials. Under the NAMP, 4 air pollutants like SO2, NO2, SPM and RSPM, that is PM10, have been identified for regular monitoring at all locations. Let us now focus at various policy suggestions. The government has taken a number of measures such as creation and enforcement of legislation, emission standards for industries and vehicles, guidelines for setting industries, environmental audit, environmental impact assessment, that is EIA, study before setting up or expansion of a project, vehicular pollution control measures, pollution prevention technologies, action plan for problematic areas, development of environmental standards and promotion of environmental awareness and the role of all stakeholders in pollution control. However, despite all these measures, air pollution still remains one of the major environmental problems, and the following policy proposals may be helpful in addressing the air pollution related challenges faced by the government. These are: 1. Strengthen the monitoring and enforcement of emission standards. 2. Formulate a national strategy for urban transport to ensure adequate investment into mass transport system. For example, introduction of metro railway service is a right step in the right direction. 3. Mass awareness campaigns should be initiated to educate people about the health impact of air pollution. Moreover, air quality management and air pollution mitigation measures taken up by the government at the state or central level should be widely promoted through educational and information programs. 5. Strengthen efforts for partial substitution of fossil fuels by biofuels through promotion of biofuel plantation. 6. Ensuring that construction projects pass environmental evaluations before they are given permission to go ahead. 7th, promote use of non-conventional sources of energy like solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy through suitable technologies and strengthening regulatory certification of the new technologies. 8. Promote research and development in efficient use of resources such as coal so that there is less wastage and maximum utilization. 9. Putting up a ban on activities like open burning of refuse, instead compose the waste.